Elias Ward had never been the kind of person who drew attention. On the human diplomatic vessel Horizon's summit, he was known for his quiet focus, neat work, and habit of talking to machines as if they were old friends. He liked problems he could fix with tools, wires, and patient hands. He liked things that made sense. Alien diplomacy, however, did not make sense to him. He was an engineer, not a negotiator, not a speaker, and definitely not someone trained to read alien expressions. But fate had a strange way of placing people exactly where they did not expect to be. On that day, during the first joint meeting with the Aurelian delegation, Elias found himself standing in the center of the ship's main hall, trying very hard to pretend he was invisible. The Aurelians entered in a slow, graceful formation, their long coats flowing like ribbons of light. Their skin shimmered with soft colors that shifted with emotion, though humans still did not fully understand how to interpret those changes. Their eyes were bright, almost reflective, with swirling patterns like tiny galaxies. Most of the crew watched these visitors with polite interest. Elias, however, felt something else, a strange awareness that someone in the Aurelian group was staring directly at him. Her name was Sarah Valen, though he did not know that yet. All he knew was that her eyes kept finding him, again and again, even when she turned to listen to her fellow delegates. At first, he thought she was simply scanning the room. But her gaze returned to him with such focused calm that he began to feel like a tool under inspection. He touched his own cheek, lightly. "Is something on my face?" he whispered to himself. His coworker Mara elbowed him. "Relax. Maybe she likes engineers." Elias almost laughed. "Yeah, right. Or maybe she thinks I'm a weird human who shouldn't be here." But the staring continued, gentle yet unwavering. And when the translator array crackled slightly, something Elias knew meant he'd have to fix it later, he saw Saras tilt her head, studying him even more intently. Captain Rourke began the official welcome speech. The room filled with calm voices, a mixture of human and Aurelian tones. And still, Saras watched him. Elias wished desperately that the floor would open and pull him inside. After the ceremony, Elias moved to the side of the hall, hoping to escape unnoticed. He pulled up a small diagnostics tablet, pretending to check readings, even though nothing was actually malfunctioning. The truth was simple. He had no idea how to handle direct attention, much less from someone who was not human. But fate or mischief had different plans. He sensed movement behind him, followed by a soft voice. "Engineer Elias Ward." He turned and saw her, the Aurelian woman, who had been staring at him. Up close, she was even more striking. Her silver-blue skin shimmered faintly, her eyes glowing with swirling patterns he had never seen before. She held her hands behind her back in a gentle posture, one that the cultural guidebook described as open curiosity. Elias cleared his throat. Yes? I mean, that's me. I'm Elias. Engineer. Hi." Her eyelids lowered in a slow Aurelian blink, which their species used to show respect. "Your presence strengthens my path," she said softly. The translator processed her words and played them in smooth English. Elias froze. He tried to smile politely. Thank you? That's kind?" Sarah seemed pleased by his response. Her skin brightened with a soft gold warmth. "It is truth." Elias had no idea what to do. The phrase felt flattering, maybe even poetic, but he was almost certain the translator had produced the wrong meaning. It often struggled with subtle emotional expressions. He guessed she was probably trying to say something like, "It's nice to meet you," or "I appreciate your work." "Humans must find this moment humorous," Saras added. Elias exhaled in relief. Yes, exactly. It's just translation stuff. Probably a small glitch." But the Aurelian woman seemed to misunderstand his reaction entirely. She stepped closer, studying his face with those luminous, swirling eyes. "You laugh with grace?" she said. It brings harmony. She said, You laugh with grace. I was just... Elias tried to explain, but she was already nodding, as if his answer confirmed something important to her. Before he could escape or redirect the conversation, Captain Rourke walked past, raising an eyebrow at the scene. Mara, trailing behind the captain, mouthed silently, She's into you. Elias nearly choked on air. Saras walked beside him during the delegation's tour of the ship, though he had not asked her to. Every so often, she made a remark that the translator twisted into poetic-sounding lines. Your energy is bright. Your steps match mine. You stand with quiet purpose. Each time, Elias politely smiled, while his co-workers whispered excited comments behind his back. At one point, when they stopped near the observation window, Saras turned to him again. You are comfortable with our presence? Elias nodded quickly. Oh, yes, absolutely. I like meeting new people. Or new species. I mean, this is all very good. Very nice. Her eyes shimmered again. You accept us with calm strength. This is admirable. Elias blinked. What? Mara leaned toward him and whispered. She's praising your personality. Just take the compliment. But Elias was not convinced. He suspected a cultural misunderstanding, probably caused by the translator. Aurelian languages were layered with emotional tones and symbolic phrasing things machines could not fully capture. The translator often replaced unfamiliar concepts with closest-sounding human phrases, producing lines that sounded far more intense than intended. So, in Elias's mind, Saras was probably saying simple things like, You seem polite. Thank you for not being nervous. Your crew is welcoming. But the translator turned them into dramatic lines like something from a romance novel. Because of that, Elias assumed she was simply a friendly diplomat with a poetic language style, nothing more. But the Aurelians watching from across the hall saw something completely different. To them, Saras's behavior was unmistakable. She was focusing her attention on him alone, offering symbolic compliments, and matching her pace to his. These were gentle, early signs of emotional interest in Aurelian tradition, signals they exchanged carefully and deliberately. And the way Elias smiled politely, calmly answered her questions, and did not back away, that looked, to them, like acceptance, like he was quietly welcoming her bond. No human in the room knew this. No Aurelian realized he misunderstood every gesture. The misunderstanding grew, thread by thread, weaving a path towards something none of them anticipated. Later, when the delegation moved toward their private meeting chambers, Saras paused beside Elias one more time. I hope, she said softly, that our connection will continue to grow. Elias laughed nervously. Sure, yeah. Connections, cooperation, friendship, all of that. Saras's eyes brightened, shimmering with a pattern he had no name for. Then I am honored. Before he could ask what she meant, she turned and followed her delegation down the corridor, leaving him alone with confusion, a racing heart, and a sense that something very strange had just happened. Mara approached him with a grin. So how long before you two start exchanging interstellar poetry? It's not like that, Elias muttered. It's just language issues. She smirked. Sure. Keep telling yourself that. I am a vey. Cleave the scraps. Down your s-biz. Keep telling yourself that. He sighed, rubbing his forehead. I'm an engineer. I fix machinery. I don't know how to fix this. But somewhere farther down the hallway, Saras walked with quiet confidence, believing completely that her gentle signals had been seen, understood, and received in full by the human engineer whose calm presence had captured her attention from the moment she stepped onto the ship. Two different beliefs. Two different cultures. One growing misunderstanding. And neither of them had any idea what it was leading toward. For the next 2 days, aboard the Horizon Summit, nothing felt normal for Elias Ward. Every corridor he walked through, every room he entered, someone from the crew gave him a look that said, "There goes the human who caught an alien's attention." He wished they would stop. Elias tried to stay focused on his engineering duties. The translator arrays needed calibration. The observation deck computers needed updating. The environmental sensors for the Aurelian quarters required delicate tuning. All things he usually enjoyed. But today, every time he lifted a tool, he found his mind drifting back to the quiet Aurelian woman with shimmering skin and calm eyes, Saras Velin. He didn't even know why she kept talking to him. Maybe she found humans interesting. Maybe she thought he looked harmless and polite. Or maybe the translator kept turning basic greetings into dramatic-sounding lines by accident. Whatever the reason, the situation made him nervous in a way he couldn't explain. During the morning briefing, Captain Rourke gave a short update to the engineering team. Elias stood at the back of the room, hoping no one would bring up the Aurelian misunderstanding. He should have known better. As soon as the captain finished speaking, Mara leaned casually against the wall and whispered loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. "So, Elias, any new poetic messages from your Aurelian admirer?" Half the room snickered. Elias nearly dropped his tablet. It's not, she's just being friendly. And the translator is broken. It exaggerates things." Mara raised an eyebrow. "Broken, huh? Then why do none of the other Aurelians talk like a romance story generator?" Elias had no answer to that. The truth was, he didn't know. Sarah seemed calm, focused, and confident in ways he couldn't understand. She always looked at him like she already knew something he didn't, and she spoke with a certainty that made him wonder if maybe she believed they were sharing some kind of symbolic conversation. But that wasn't possible. Right? Later, Elias was assigned to check the energy grid in the main observation hall. When he stepped inside, he found the Aurelian delegation already present, standing in a semicircle while one of them reviewed a large digital star map. His stomach instantly tightened. Saras was among them. Her eyes brightened when she saw him. A soft, golden glow spread across her skin, a sign humans had not yet fully learned to interpret. Elias lifted his toolkit and mentally repeated, "I'm just here to work. That's it. Fix the scanner, check the cables, leave. No misunderstandings today." "Engineer Elias Ward," Saras greeted him gently. He swallowed hard. "Hello, Saras. I'm just doing maintenance work. You don't have to stop your meeting." "We do not mind," she said. "Your presence adds clarity." Elias blinked. Thanks?" One of the other Aurelians, older, with deeper blue markings across his arms, gave a slow, approving nod. "A strong beginning," the elder murmured in their own language. The translator did not convert the sentence for Elias. Saras noticed this, but she did not explain. Instead, she stepped closer, her voice soft. "May I assist you? You want to help me?" Elias asked carefully. "Yes. Shared tasks build harmony." Elias tried to hide a sigh. Another poetic-sounding line. Definitely the translator's fault. He handed her a small scanning device. "Okay. Please hold this steady while I adjust the sensor." Though. Saras accepted it with both hands, as though he had given her something precious. "I will carry it with care." "It's just a tool," Elias said awkwardly. "But it is yours," she replied. "That makes it meaningful." Elias almost choked. Mara was right, the translator made everything sound dramatic. Or maybe Saras was simply this sincere all the time. While Elias opened the sensor panel, Saras observed him quietly. "Humans shape metal with clever minds," she said. "You guide the ship's heart with steady hands." He shook his head. "I guide nothing. I just fix stuff." "Fixing is guiding," she insisted gently. You repair what others depend on. You create safety. That is strength. Elias paused. Strength? Me? Yes, she said, with absolute certainty. He felt heat rise to his cheeks. No one had ever said something like that to him. Not in that tone. Not with such sincerity. He didn't know whether to laugh, hide, or change the subject. He chose to change the subject. So, how is your stay so far? He asked. Saras's eyes brightened. Comfort grows where connection grows. There she goes again, Elias thought helplessly. The translator really needed fixing. What Elias did not know was that the Aurelian delegates were observing him closely. They whispered among themselves in soft tones, their language mixing symbols and emotion-based color shifts. He accepts her focus without discomfort, one murmured. His calm reaction shows readiness, another agreed. He is a strong match, said the elder. The bond has potential. Humans would have been shocked to hear these words. But Elias understood none of it. While Elias continued his repairs, Saras remained nearby, quietly assisting and offering tools before he even asked for them. It was almost like she studied his movements ahead of time, predicting what he needed. After they finished, she turned to him again. It's not very exciting, Elias said softly. It is, she insisted. You shape harmony from chaos. He rubbed the back of his neck, nervous. Saras, do you always talk like this? Her head tilted gently. Like what? Like a poet. She blinked slowly. I speak with honesty. Elias quickly waved his hands. No, I don't mean it's bad. It's just, humans don't usually talk like this. We speak more plainly. Saras considered this. Would you prefer plainness? I guess it would be easier for me to understand. Her skin shifted to a thoughtful purple hue. Then I will try. She stepped closer, lowered her voice, and said very seriously, I enjoy your company. Elias nearly forgot how to breathe. That was not poetic. That was not metaphorical. That was not a translator glitch. That was straightforward, plain, clear. And suddenly, Elias didn't know what to say. Before he could answer, the ship's intercom called him. Engineer Ward. Report to the main deck. Urgent translator diagnostics needed. Elias practically jumped at the opportunity to escape. I have to go. Duty calls. Very important duty. See you later. He hurried out of the hall so fast he almost tripped over his own feet. Saras watched him leave. Her expression soft and unreadable. Behind her, the Aurelian elder spoke again. He accepts the bond, the elder said. Saras lowered her gaze. I believe he is unsure. Graham. That is natural, the elder replied. Humans require time, but his actions show openness. You have chosen well. Saras touched her fingers to her heart crest. I hope he understands. You must tell him soon, the elder said. The ritual is already in motion. Saras nodded quietly, but she did not know how much Elias misunderstood or how completely unaware he was of the weight of her words. Elias spent the next hour staring at the translator console, pretending to diagnose problems that did not exist. His thoughts kept circling the same question. Why does she talk to me like that? He wasn't special. He wasn't charismatic like the diplomats. He wasn't confident like the captain. He wasn't skilled in social situations. But when Saras spoke to him, it felt like she was seeing something he didn't see in himself. And that scared him. It also made him curious, but mostly scared. Later that evening, Mara found him sitting alone in the cafeteria, staring into a cup of tea that had long gone cold. So, she began, sitting across from him with a grin. What did she say this time? Elias covered his face with both hands. She said she enjoys my company. Mara almost spit out her drink. Wow. She said it plainly? No translator poetry? Elias nodded miserably. Mara leaned back, smug. Elias, you do realize she likes you, right? Like actually likes you. No, he muttered. No, she doesn't. It's just cultural stuff. Or politeness. Or the translator. Messing everything up. Mara shook her head. Buddy, even I can tell the difference between formal politeness and someone giving you hard eyes in alien form. He groaned. I don't do relationships, especially not interspecies political ones. Mara smirked. Too late. You're already halfway into one. Elias looked up, his eyes wide with panic. And somewhere on the other side of the ship, Sarah sat quietly in her quarters, practicing human-style plain speech, preparing for a moment she believed was not far away, a moment when she would speak a vow that, in her culture, meant commitment, promise, and destiny. A vow she believed Elias would understand. A vow he was absolutely not ready for. The Alliance ceremony was only one day away, and the entire Horizon Summit buzzed with careful preparation. Humans worked with quick steps and focused minds, while the Aurelians moved calmly, as if every gesture carried meaning. Decorations, holograms, and symbols of unity filled the main hall. Elias Ward tried very hard to stay far away from all of it. He stuck to quiet corners of the ship, hoping no one would ask him about Saras. But even when he hid in engineering rooms or maintenance tunnels, whispers followed him. Where's the alien's favorite human? Has he confessed anything yet? Do you think they'll sit together at the ceremony? Elias pressed his face against a wall panel and let out a long sigh. Why me? Why is this happening to me? He was an engineer, not a romantic hero in a sci-fi drama. He preferred gears and circuits, things that didn't give him poetic compliments. But the world didn't care about his preferences, especially not today. When Elias finally reported to the main hall to help set up the translator systems, he felt his stomach twist. The Aurelian delegation was already gathered in a smooth arc, preparing their ceremonial robes. And Sarah stood right in the center of them. Her shimmering skin glowed softly in warm golden tones. Her robe was decorated with flowing patterns that changed color with her emotions. And the moment her eyes found him, they brightened like a gentle sunrise. Elias nearly tripped over a power cable. Get it together, he whispered to himself. But Saras had already stepped toward him. Elias Ward, she greeted warmly. I am pleased you are here. He forced a smile. Hi, Saras. I'm just checking the translator equipment. Important work. Very technical. She folded her hands in front of her. You bring clarity to our voices. That is important to me. Elias felt the tips of his ears turn warm. I'm just doing my job. You do it with heart, she said. He coughed awkwardly. You say things very directly now. I practiced, she said proudly. I want to speak in the way humans understand best. Elias tried not to melt into the floor. As he worked on the translator array, he overheard soft Aurelian whispers around him. Their voices were musical, filled with emotional tone shifts. He stands calmly with her. He does not pull away. He accepts the bond. It is time. Elias didn't understand a word, but Saras did. She closed her eyes for a moment, breathing deeply, a gesture of gathering courage in her culture. Then she slowly stepped onto the small ceremonial platform in front of the hall. The room grew quiet, as both humans and Aurelians turned toward her. Elias looked up from his cables, surprised. Another Aurelian delegate spoke formally. Saras Velen wishes to offer her personal vow, as is tradition. Elias blinked. Personal vow? That sounded important. Too important. He tried to step back, but the captain stopped him with a hand on his shoulder. Relax, Captain Rourke whispered. Just stand still. It's a friendly gesture. Friendly gesture? Elias doubted it. Nothing about this situation felt simple. Saras looked directly at him. Elias froze. The hall fell silent. Her voice rang clear across the room, the translator, converting each word into a soft, elegant English tone. "You're my forever." The hall gasped. Elias felt the world tilt sideways. His mind went blank for a full 3 seconds. Then came the panic. She said what? Forever? Forever? Elias almost dropped the translator tablet. Saras, however, looked calm, peaceful, even. She believed he understood what the vow meant. She believed he had accepted her signals for days. She believed this moment was simply the natural next step. Meanwhile, Elias stood there like a statue that had just discovered emotions for the first time. Mara, standing near the captain, whispered loudly, "Oh, boy." Captain Rourke looked like he had just swallowed a lemon. Several Aurelians touched their heart crests, a sign of deep respect. Saras waited for Elias's reaction, her eyes glowing gently. Elias's mouth opened. A sound came out. It wasn't a word. It wasn't even human. He took a shaky breath. "Saras, I think something is wrong with the translator." Saras blinked in confusion. "The translator is working well." "No," Elias insisted. "It has to be broken." That was a big sentence. A very big sentence. "It was my vow," Saras said simply. Vow. The word hit him like a shockwave. "Vow?" Elias repeated weakly. "Like, promise vow? Lifetime vow? Serious vow?" "Yes," she replied. "In Aurelian tradition, this vow means, I choose to build a connected path with you." Elias's brain nearly shut down. Connected path? That sounded like marriage. Or commitment. Or something equally terrifying. He took a slow breath and tried to stay calm. "Saras, I think there's been a misunderstanding." The Aurelian delegation gasped in confusion. Saras's skin shimmered with a sudden mix of colors, surprise, worry, and something softer. "A misunderstanding?" she asked quietly. Elias felt his heart twist. He didn't want to hurt her. She had been nothing but kind. But he also couldn't pretend to understand a vow from a culture he barely knew. "Yes," he said gently. "I didn't know your words meant something this serious. I didn't understand the signs. I thought you were joking sometimes, or being friendly, or the translator was making things dramatic." Saras's eyes widened. "You did not understand?" Elias shook his head. A long silence filled the hall. Then Sarah stepped down from the platform, her movements slow and calm. She stopped in front of Elias, hands folded gently. "I see," she said softly. "Then the error is mine. I believed your calmness was acceptance. I thought your quiet was agreement. I did not realize humans need clearer words." Elias lowered his gaze. "I didn't mean to confuse you. There is no blame," Sarah said. Her voice carried no anger, no disappointment, only sincerity. Elias looked up, surprised. Saras continued. "Elias Ward, if my vow caused fear or pressure, I will withdraw it. Aurelian vows must be chosen freely. I do not want a bond made from confusion." Her soft humility hit Elias harder than any poetic line ever had. He felt something warm in his chest, respect. He stepped forward. "Saras, I don't want you to take it back." Her eyes widened with a shimmer. "I want," Elias said carefully, "to understand it better first. I want to learn your customs. I want to know what your words really mean. I just need time." Saras's skin glowed with gentle gold, the color of hope. "Then I will give you time." The Aurelians relaxed. The tension in the hall faded. Humans exchanged relieved smiles. Elias felt the weight on his shoulders lift slightly. "But," Saras added softly, "the vow stands open. Not claimed. Not withdrawn. Waiting." As long as you need. Elias nodded. That sounds fair. Saras touched her heart crest, a gesture of gratitude. Thank you for honesty. And thank you, Elias said, for not giving up on me. The hall began to move again, everyone returning to their work, but Elias and Sarah stood quietly for a moment longer. Two different worlds. Two different cultures. One honest conversation that rebuilt everything from the beginning. The misunderstanding was no longer a wall. It was a bridge. And for the first time, Elias didn't feel nervous. He felt curious. And Saras felt something she had rarely felt in her life, the gentle promise of a connection chosen slowly. Not assumed. The wreaths. The vow would wait. But their story was only beginning. The day after the ceremony, the horizon's summit felt strangely calm. The ship drifted through quiet space, its engines humming like a peaceful heartbeat. Crew members walked the halls with a new sense of relief. The misunderstanding had not turned into a disaster. In fact, it had opened something new and hopeful between humans and Aurelians. But for Elias Ward, the calm outside didn't reflect the storm inside him. He sat in his small engineering office, staring at a glowing console screen that had been idle for 30 minutes. His fingers tapped nervously on the edge of the desk. He had barely slept. How could he? Yesterday, an alien diplomat had declared a vow to him, a vow that meant forever. And now? Now he had to decide what to do next. He rubbed his eyes and whispered to himself, "Just talk to her. That's all." Simple words. Very difficult action. A soft chime echoed through the room, the door signal. Elias sat up straight. Yes? Who is it?" The door slid open. Sarah stood there. Her posture was calm and respectful. Her robe had simpler colors today, gentle blues and silvers, symbolizing openness. Her eyes held a warm glow, but not the intense brightness from yesterday. She had given him space, just as she promised. "May I enter?" she asked. Elias nodded quickly. "Of course. Please." She stepped inside, hands folded lightly in front of her. "I hope I did not disturb your work." "No," Elias said honestly. "I wasn't doing anything important. Just thinking." She tilted her head. "Thinking can be very important." He laughed nervously. "Not always. Sometimes it just makes my brain tired." Too. Sarah smiled softly, a small expression, but full of gentle understanding. "Then, perhaps I can help." Elias cleared his throat. "Saras, I want to understand your vow. Not just the words, but the meaning behind it." Sarah slowly took a seat across from him. "I will explain. And I will answer any question you ask." Elias nodded. "Thank you." She rested her hands on her knees and began calmly. "In Aurelian tradition, we give vows rarely. A vow is not a command. It is not possession. It is an invitation. When I said, 'You're my forever,' I was saying, I choose to walk with you, but only if you choose the same path." Elias listened closely, every word sinking in. Saras continued, "It is not about ownership. It is about partnership, and it does not demand immediate answer. Time is part of the process." Elias relaxed slightly. "That actually makes me feel a lot less scared." "That is good," Sarah said. "Your comfort matters." He gave her a shy smile. "I appreciate that, really." After a moment of quiet, Saras asked gently, "May I ask something now?" "Of course," Elias said. "Why did you accept my attention before? You did not step away. You did not reject my words. Humans usually show discomfort when they want distance." Elias rubbed the back of his neck. "Honestly, I didn't know your words were romantic signals." Crease. Saras blinked with surprise. "Truly?" "Truly." Elias said. I thought the translator was being dramatic. She lowered her gaze, embarrassed. Then I gave meaning, where there was none. No, he said softly. You gave meaning. I just didn't understand it yet. Saras's skin glowed warm gold, a color of relief. Elias hesitated before asking, Can you tell me what my actions meant to you? The things I did that made you think I understood? Saras answered honestly. You looked into my eyes without fear. You accepted my closeness. You spoke gently, even when confused. You allowed me to assist you. These things, in our culture, show openness to deeper connection. Elias blinked. Humans do all that with friends, too. Saras paused. Friends? Yes, Elias said. Friends can look at each other, help each other, stand close, and talk kindly. It doesn't always mean something serious. Saras took a slow breath. Then I misunderstood your signals. And I misunderstood yours, Elias said. Their eyes met a quiet mutual realization. Two cultures. Two ways of communicating. Both honest. Both sincere. Both mixed up. Yet none of it had caused anger. None had broken anything. Instead, it brought them here speaking openly for the first time. Sarah stood up slowly. Elias, I will repeat what I said yesterday. If my vow brings you discomfort, I will withdraw it without pain. You owe me nothing. Elias stood too. Saras, I don't want you to erase your feelings. I just want to understand them, and see if maybe I can meet you halfway. No. Her eyes widened, shimmering with soft brightness. You wish to learn my culture? Yes, Elias said. I want to understand you. And I want you to understand me too. Saras placed her hand gently on her heart crest, a gesture of deep respect. Over the next few days, everything changed, slowly, quietly, beautifully. Elias visited the Aurelian Cultural Hall with Saras, learning about their traditions. He learned how Aurelians expressed curiosity through soft color shifts. How closeness was not assumed, but earned. How patience was considered a sign of strength. In return, Elias taught Saras simple human habits, casual jokes, plain speech, the meaning of a shy smile, the awkwardness of misunderstandings. He showed her how humans hid nervousness behind humor, how they sometimes froze when feelings became too big. Saras listened to every human detail with patient interest. Elias listened to every Aurelian detail with growing admiration. Slowly, the misunderstanding that once created distance began to create closeness instead. 3 days later, a small human Aurelian gathering took place in the observation hall. A friendly, relaxed event meant to bond both sides. Elias arrived nervously, hoping he wouldn't trip over anything. Saras approached him gently. Elias, may I show you something important? Of course, he said. She guided him to the tall observation window. Stars drifted slowly outside like sparkling dust in a black ocean. This, Saras said softly, is the place where we speak shared words. Shared words? Elias asked. Yes, she said. Aurelians speak vows alone. But when two people wish to grow closer, not bound, not completed, simply beginning, they speak shared words here. Small promises. Not forever, just steps. Elias felt something warm in his chest, not fear this time, but a gentle courage. What kind of promises? He asked. Saras stepped closer. Not too close, just enough that he could choose to match the distance, or step away. Elias did not step away. She spoke softly, promises like, I want to know you better. I want to understand your world. I want to walk beside you, without rushing. Elias swallowed. That sounds fair. Saras looked at him hopefully. Would you like to try? Only if you wish. Sama. Well, which you? Elias looked at her, truly looked. At her calm confidence. her quiet sincerity, her patience, her willingness to step back, then forward again, her courage to speak, but her respect to let him choose. He took a breath, then another, and finally, he nodded. Yes, Elias said. Saris's skin glowed with soft golden light. She placed her hand lightly on the window glass. Then I speak my part. I will learn your ways with patience. I will walk slowly, so your heart can move freely. Elias lifted his hand, placing it beside hers on the glass. I speak my part, he said quietly. I want to understand you. I want to learn without rushing. And I want to walk together, step by step. The shared words were simple. Basic. Human and Aurelian blended into something gentle and new. Saris bowed her head slightly, a respectful sign. Elias smiled sheepishly, a human sign. And the bond formed that day was not a vow of forever, not a forced fate, not a misunderstood symbol. It was a choice. A gentle one. A real one. A bond chosen, not assumed. And among the stars, that was more powerful than any vow.